You know that game Power World that's been blowing up, the off-brand Pokemon game that's just kind of wild in its own right? What if I told you that somehow there's this through line from the discussion of Power World with Xbox that gave us a new confirmation on Black Ops Golf War, or COD 2024? The weirdest unintentional crossover ever, right? But oddly, that's kind of what happened with a new report out of the Xbox camp. So today, we're taking a look at it. We're breaking down the implications of an earlier release schedule for Call of Duty 2024. So as we go along, drop your thoughts down below. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video or the sound of Golf War releasing earlier. Subscribe for more and make sure to check out my friends over at G Fuel. More on that later. But anyways, here we go. In an odd bit of media, Call of Duty got another odd confirmation for COD 2024, or right now, rumored to be Black Ops Golf War, that was just mentioned in the strangest part of media. In an article over on Inverse entitled, "Why Did Xbox Show Power World on Every Screen at a Company Meeting?" there was a brief mention of what Phil Spencer, Microsoft Gaming CEO, said to employees. Spencer confirmed to employees there would be future hardware from Xbox and added that it would be safe to assume another Call of Duty was coming this October. He addressed the company's recent job cuts and said that it had been a hard decision to stop things that weren't working. The rest of the article did not mention a single thing about Call of Duty going forward, and the word even call wasn't used in that article even one more time. So like, what a weird way to just give off a detail that you're going to be releasing a game in a franchise that you obtained as a part of a deal to the tune of $70 billion. What a way to announce that that game would be launching ahead of its historical franchise norm. November is usually Call of Duty month for the vast majority of titles within the Call of Duty franchise. It will only be the fourth time in recent years that we've had a game launch in October since the originals. Black Ops 4 launched on October 12th, Modern Warfare 2019 launched on October 25th, Modern Warfare 2 October 28th, and then Black Ops Golf War here upcoming sometime in October. The only other times that October was normal was, again, you had to go all the way back to the originals in the franchise to see this happen. But what's interesting is that all of these are, of course, in the last 5 to 6 years, which caused me to wonder, well, maybe this is the new norm going forward, because we've had at that point more games since Black Ops 4 launched in October than in November. Again, assuming Black Ops Golf War follows that. It'll be a 4-3 tally. So that's interesting to consider, but also, I'm just wondering if this is their way to move on to what's next. Because if you take a look at the two most recent ones here, this upcoming and Modern Warfare 2, well, all of which were going to be the sort of getting out of the gap year per se. Like Vanguard and Modern Warfare 3, two games that factually speaking just did not get the full time to bake in development. Both games were made in much less than a full dev window, closer to half that dev time. Modern Warfare 3 being reported to being completed in 16 months. So kind of like that marketing way of, hey, we know this is a gap year, we're not going to announce it as such that it wasn't as strong a year, but let's just, how about we move on from that chapter, kind of. Both Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops Golf War upcoming being record-long developments. Modern Warfare 2 previously holding that record of a full 3 years uninterrupted. Black Ops Golf War now apparently having 4 years uninterrupted. So we could see that transition happen a little quicker at this point in regards to a full launch of another game. But October might actually not be the end of it either, because as we've talked about before, there's other implications now that Black Ops Golf War COD 2024 might be that first game that introduces new things to the franchise that allow for even earlier access to the game. Now, of course, we'll have things like COD Next and a beta to follow, probably, if the last 2 years have taught us anything. COD Next historically on September 15th and October 5th of their respective years. A beta following the day after. Would not be surprised if that actually does happen the same exact way again this year as a part of that new era of COD that was marketed with Modern Warfare 2. But also, you got to remember that discussion about further early access. Referencing back a few weeks, we learned from Windows Central that Black Ops air quote 6, again, likely right now being called Golf War, will have a critical focus on the different participants in the war, dovetailing into the end of the Cold War era and exploring some of the consequences within. They also then confirmed that round-based zombies would be returning, but they also added a shocker that they said, we've also heard Activision is discussing a large pre-order early access bonus for Black Ops 6 with several days for the base game and maybe even weeks for access to other modes. And zombies was that targeted other mode for weeks in advance. Maybe having like zombies 2 weeks earlier, campaign 1 week earlier, maybe a sort of day zero full-fledged multiplayer launch like a day or two before the global launch for pre-orders. Something similar to what we saw within Advanced Warfare back in the day. But you have these sort of things that campaign early access was a big seller the last 2 years for pre-orders. If they're adding even more to it, well then now we have a sort of progressive rollout for the game's launch, which makes October absolutely something that is going to be the target window for that, because even if you launch the full multiplayer in November, you launch zombies 2 weeks early, you're probably in October at that point. So Black Ops Gulf War or COD 2024 might very well be introducing some, not only just some like regular marketing in terms of, oh, the game's gonna be launching earlier and earlier now by comparison to the last 10 years by comparison, but also again, we may have to consider that we may not even see the full game launch at one given time now at this point. 2024 might introduce some very new and interesting ways that the game is released, marketed, and some bundles that come along with the game perhaps and how they sell it. So we'll see how it all works out, but beyond that, in a new weird sort of twist, I guess, in regards to some new information coming out about maybe this upcoming year, also relating to Xbox, today we ended up seeing the Xbox podcast where executives talked about the future of Xbox and all things to come along with that, but they stated that Game Pass will continue to only be available on Xbox platforms and will have all first-party games playable on day one. And you know what's a first-party game now at this point? Call of Duty. So this might confirm that Call of Duty 2024 here is a day one Game Pass game. Now that has not been explicitly confirmed or said like, hey, this next Call of Duty game is going to be the case, but by that same extended logic, that should in theory then mean that if you are a Game Pass owner, you're not gonna have to pay for Black Ops Gulf War or COD 2024 because it should be included in that at that point. So this might be the first time that we see this sort of Xbox advantage come into play, with this now being a first-party game to Microsoft, to Xbox. But we don't have as much clarity, as much detail as maybe we'd like to definitively say that. But right now, it seems like that is the case in what's happening with it. So 2024 and a launch window of October plus Game Pass is certainly something that 24 hours to 72 hours ago, we might not have expected a whole ton to have that confirmed in the manner that it was, but it seems like that it has been. So anyways, that's where we're at. Just wanted to kind of fill you guys in on a little bit on how this year is shaking things up leading up to launch and when that launch actually happens. So let me know your thoughts down below. But before we wrap everything up, I want to take a second to remind you that COD Espresso can get you up to 30% off your entire order over at G Fuel. To me, G Fuel's like my cup of coffee in the morning, gets my day and my productivity going, and I'm sure there's a flavor out there for it if you want to try some. Personally, I'd recommend Pog Juice, Starfruit, Strawberry Banana, the Morbius Nectarine flavor, and more. But whether or not you want to try it out for the very first time, grab like a starter kit where it gives you a couple of sample packs of different flavors and a shaker cup, or you guys want to just grab a restock of a tub, maybe a few tubs, COD Espresso can net you a nice little discount up to 30% off your entire order. So that said, check it out if you guys are at all interested, but for now, that's what we're gonna call it. So let me know your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of the upcoming year with Black Ops Gulf War? Hopeful, not so much, whatever the case, feel free to let me know. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing. We're getting all things Modern Warfare 3, COD 2024, Warzone, other FPS content like X Defiant, and more. We got you covered here on the channel. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.